All right, I like that new message that you get to know when somebody's recording for you. So welcome, guys. My name is Sherry Coslin. I'm a leader from Beachburg, Ontario, Canada. I've been with Epicure. My goodness, I'm already throwing things. Swedish Chef just came out. I've been with Epicure actually coming up on 4 years. And one of the first things that I started with Epicure was I was attending freezer meal workshops. And that's what got me hooked on meal planning. And I absolutely love having meals in my freezer, especially at this time of year. This is kind of like a, not a full meal. Like some of you might be familiar with crock pot freezer meals where it's literally a dump and turn on the crock pot and go. This is a little bit different because we're in summertime and a lot of grilling and chilling is happening. And so sometimes just having your proteins or the main part of your meal prepared is half the battle. So that's what this freezer meal, kind of the heart of that idea was. And we're really excited about it because it gives, I mean, for a really great price point, I think it was like $38 in Canada, $42 in the US. You're getting 10 meals and you should have some leftovers left in the jars if we did our measurements correctly. So that's a really great price point that, you know, I think is helpful. And I hope that you all find value in that because that was our intention. Something that is, you know, affordable and helpful. And that's the name of the game. If you've never done a freezer meal workshop before, there's a few different varieties of how to in terms of what you use for your freezer bags, how you set it up. And I'm going to show you my way. And of course, as you get to know doing freezer meals, you get more comfortable with what to do. There are a few different recipes that maybe you've never done as a freezer meal before as well. So I'm going to show you 2 of those today. And if you tuned in on Thursday, I think it was, we did another one that was a 2-bag demo. So that recording will be shared as well so that you can access that and see how, and that recipe was the Smokin maple chicken. And that one just requires that you put half of the sauce in a separate baggie so that when the grilling is almost done, you've got 2 minutes left of the grilling, you just brush the remainder of the sauce onto the chicken that's already been marinated in the sauce in the freezer, then defrosted. So that's how that one worked. And feel free to check that recording. I will be uploading both of these to our Team Rise Together group, probably tomorrow, hopefully. And if not later tonight, if I get a chance. And yeah, so you'll have access to those. So we did 4 recipes that day. Today, I'm just doing 3, but that's a good chunk of our recipes that we had to offer. Like I said, there was 10. So I'm going to start with the simplest one first, because this will be a little bit more familiar if you've done freezer meals before. And you can see I've got a freezer bag in a bowl here. And this is my trick because when I'm doing freezer meals, I have a tendency to get really busy and really focused, and then I dump a bag. And that's the worst feeling, is when you dump a bag of already prepared food and then you're cleaning it up. So get yourself a bowl. I just use one of my mixing bowls, and I've got a large Ziploc bag, and you can notice that, and I'll put this one here. I don't know if you can see it better on which one, but you can notice that I've labeled it. Now I haven't written on the bag because for some reason, my Sharpies don't stay on the bag anymore. I'm not sure whether that's Sharpie's problem or whether that's Ziploc's problem, but so I just use a sticky label, address label, and write on there. That way you're not losing, and you have a little bit more room too to write if there's additional instructions. For instance, like that 2-bag recipe, I wrote brush on last 2 minutes of grilling. So you can do that with, you know, an extra label if you need more room. It's just kind of handy. Then you don't have to go and look for the recipe if it's already there for you for that one little instruction. So I've got a baggie here. And the first one I'm doing is the Smokin barbecue pork tenderloin. And so what you need for that is 2 pork tenderloins, but I'm going to put those in after I do the mix. So I need 1 package of Smokin barbecue sauce. Now this is super handy. There was 3 of these in the kit, and I do believe there's extra enough to make some extra barbecue sauce with the kit. And you'll notice I turned my bag upside down because the recipe we're actually using is just the wet rub off of this package. So if you happen to love the recipe and lose the recipe, you've always got the recipe. So that one was super handy, and it is a really great wet rub recipe. And so I'm just dumping that contents of that bag into my Ziploc bag. And I can also, if I'm following it on there, now stand it up, you can see. But it's also really great because I like social media, really great for me to take some photos. So the contents are in there. Now I need, and my fan's gonna blow it over on me, guys, but it's better to be cool. Now I need some olive oil, and I'm just grabbing one of my prep bowls. They come in a set of 4, and I use them a lot for measuring. I use them for storage, all kinds of things. And especially love that if I'm working in cups or mils, I can do the right measurement, especially for handy jobs like this. So the olive oil is going in with the mix. And then I need some apple cider vinegar. Now this is just regular apple cider vinegar. It's not the organic raw version. If you have the organic raw version, which I'm out of, make sure you give it a really good shake because it will separate a little bit. You want the real, ingredients mixed through. So we need 2 tablespoons in here. Now, apple cider vinegar is really great. You might be wondering if that's necessary. It's really great for helping, kind of create a really great crust on your meat while you're grilling it, but also to help kind of break down if it's a tougher piece of meat, like say you were doing a lower, like a cheaper quality of steak. That's what a vinegar will do for you as well, is help break that down so it's a little bit more tender. So now the wet ingredients are all in the bag as well as the seasoning, and I'm going to seal it up a little bit and just massage the bag. You can skip this if you want, but I'm a type A and I like it to be mixed. And then I know I just have to shake up the pork tenderloin. So then after I massage that, I just grabbed 2 out of my sink here in a package. These are big guys we're at Costco, and so I've got a couple extras to do that I'll do in another bag, but drop them in. Seal your bag up. I squeeze all the air out as I can. You're gonna wanna check your air in a minute anyways, but then you give your pork tenderloin a little bit of a massage just to get the seasoning mixed all around. And that's it. Now it's gonna go in my freezer, but I do see I have a little bit of air left in here. So I'm gonna squeeze it out just carefully so I don't lose any of the seasoning. Need it a little bit bigger. And then now I will freeze this flat. Hopefully you can see that in my freezer so that it will thaw easier, and then I can lay it flat as well in my sink or in my fridge, depending on how quickly I'm thawing it. There is number 1. That is a traditional, just meat, just the protein prep for a freezer meal. So that was super simple. I have a couple more I'll be doing in a few minutes after we're done today. And I mean, literally, if you're going to Costco and you bought the meat, rather than separate and freeze it and then marinate it, separate it, marinate it, freeze it, your day is easier. All right, so now I'm gonna do one that's a little bit different. You might have seen it, and I'm just gonna flip to that recipe. It is the Tuscan tomato, or grilled Tuscan tomato pizza. So, and I'm just holding my papers down from the fan because it's really warm in here and I don't want to lose the papers. I'd rather have the fan. So I've got a sheet pan out here already, and I've got a couple things ready. And you might be thinking, Tuscan chicken burger, we're making pizza? Trust me, guys, this is a beautiful Mediterranean flavor. You can use it for anything. In fact, the Caprese chicken also uses this seasoning. I use it for bruschetta. I use it for all kinds of things. And this pizza is delicious. We've been making it as appetizers. We've been making it as snacks. We've been making it as lunches and dinners, and you name it. We just love it. So we're excited to get some more of them in our freezer. So I just laid out, and I'm just going to do 3 of them so you guys don't have to watch me do 6, but I just laid out 3 on my sheet pan. So if you have 2 sheet pans, all 6 for the recipe will fit. And then in my 4-cup prep bowl, I already got I use strained tomatoes, but you can use crushed. They're virtually the same thing. Crushed tomatoes haven't been strained. Strained tomatoes are crushed tomatoes that have no chunks at all in them, which I have a picky eater. That's important. So in the 1 cup, and I know our recipe might say 1/2 cup. There is a reprint coming because that was a typo. It's supposed to be 1 cup. So maybe make a note on that. If you have the original version, it is 1 cup that we want of the crushed tomatoes or strained tomatoes. Now in that, you are going to take your Tuscan chicken burger seasoning, and I'm going to grab my 4-in-1 spice spoon, which I love. They are super handy for measuring tools, 4-in-1. And I'm going to put 2 tablespoons, make sure I've got this right. No, teaspoons, I just went 1 too many. That's okay, we're all good. I love this seasoning. It's only 1 extra teaspoon. I read it wrong. All right, so in there it went. stir it up. And of course I could add extra tomatoes if I wanted, but we love the flavor of this seasoning and I really don't think that's going to be a problem. Stir it up and you've got a Mediterranean flavored marinara. Now I'm just going to spread that on there. And I love using the 3-in-1 spatula for this because I can scoop and spread and stir all in one. And we like it saucy, but when it's your kitchen, your way, you can put as little or as much, and I might have a little bit too much on that one, as you like. Same with the cheese. If you are dairy-free, a dairy-free cheese will look wonderful on here, or you could use a goat cheese. Goat cheese would be delicious on this, honestly, with the Mediterranean flavors. Your kitchen, your way. So just spread out the seasoning, or the sauce, just like so. Hopefully you can see that okay. And like I said, this is enough for 6. So I'm going to set this aside because I'm sure you guys, if you see 3, you know what 6 will look like. Now I've already pre-grated my mozzarella. That's part of meal prep too. If you know you're going to be cooking up something with grated cheddar, get that ready because that's just one easier task. And I'm telling you, kids and husbands are handy that way. Take the load off and pass on the task. So I am just going to sprinkle what I know we like for amount of cheese. And I think the recipe says 1.5 cups, which is about what I've got in here. So I would use, half of what's in here on these 3 pizzas. And then guys, this is where you get to be your own person. If you wanted to add extra ingredients, and really guys, you get to know what you like on your pizzas. If you think mushrooms would sound great on this, throw them on. If you think that peppers or red onions would sound good on this, throw them on. So at this point now, the assembly of the base pizza is prepared. And now I would flash freeze these. Because they're on this tray, I can stick them right in my freezer and let them freeze. The day of, we take our tomatoes and our prep bowl, chop up your tomatoes or leave them whole, however you prefer. And then you add a little bit of olive oil. So the recipe calls for 1 tablespoon of olive oil, 3 tomatoes. So that would be 3 tomatoes for the 6 pizzas. And a little bit of basil and 1 more teaspoon of Tuscan chicken burger seasoning. So what you do is you make almost like a bruschetta if you're chopping it up, or toss the full slices of tomato in the olive oil. Imagine that these have now thawed, and then you place the tomatoes on and a little bit of Tuscan seasoning as the top. If you can think of our pizza seasoning that we all used to have and love, that's similar idea. It is just fabulous, but these guys are going to go into the freezer to freeze like so. And then when they're frozen, I will take our Ziploc baggie and I will put them in with a piece of parchment or wax paper in between so they don't stick, because we will be taking them out for appetizers one at a time. And that's a great way too, when you don't know who's coming by. I know things are just starting to open up, and maybe you'll have a friend over and you didn't plan on it, and you need something to get ahead. This is also a great, instead of just a meal, you could have it ahead as appetizers. So guys, that is the pizzas. And like I said, if you want to prepare more ingredients and put those on, feel free. I think this would be delicious with some leftover Tuscan flavored chicken. So if you marinated your chicken with some olive oil and some Tuscan chicken burger seasoning and then had leftover chicken, that would be delicious on it as well. So last one that I'm going to show today, and I was out of chicken that was not frozen already and prepared. So I actually took one of the pork tenderloins and chopped it up. So this is the Montreal style. So you could do it with steak, you could do it with chicken, or like I'm doing it, you can do it with pork tenderloin. It really doesn't matter on the protein. And that's where the fun comes, because we all have our favorites. We all have our dietary needs as well. Some of us avoid red meats. We need more chickens, or we need more pork. And so I'm just using pork today just because it was convenient. And what I do, this is where it comes down to, it's kebabs. This is your choice. So I'm going to show you what I'm going to do, but you could also just freeze this as a kit and skewer them when they're defrosted. That's entirely up to you. I happen to have these 8-inch skewers that you can just get at the dollar store, and they fit in my Ziploc baggie beautifully. So I'm going to do up a bunch. And what I like to do when I'm doing kebabs or skewers is I like to make them so that my picky eater's happy, that I'm happy, that everybody in my family's happy. So as you're going, you can recruit a helper and have them skewer your chicken or your steak or whatever you're using. So I already took a red onion, and I cut it into pieces, but then I split the onion up into single, I don't know if you can see that okay, into single layers. So I'm just going to dump that half onion in there. And then I know I have some picky eaters that don't like peppers, and I'm going to throw one on the floor, hopefully not. And so I'm only putting one pepper in here because we will have some other veggies on the side, but that's where you get to customize your own kitchen, your own way. So the meat, the onion, and the pepper, I threw right into my bowl. And then it says I need a teaspoon of oil. So I'll use my 4-in-1 spice spoon. I love this for freezer meals. And my tip is, this is why you need 2. When you are cooking a freezer meals, I keep one that is for dry ingredients and one that is for wet ingredients. And that way I don't have to wash it. Chances are I'm going to use oil, or I'm going to use soy sauce, or something that is okay to mix and match. So that's my tip. That's why I say every kitchen needs 2 of these, even though they're fantastic as just having one. All right, so the teaspoon of oil is in there. Now we need 2 to 3 tablespoons of the Montreal steak rub. So again, I'm grabbing the dry ingredient 4-in-1 spice spoon. And I think I'm just gonna do 2 because I know this is a peppery. Maybe we'll do 2.5. We'll go part way. We'll split it in the middle. This is peppery, so I know my picky eater will be happier if I just use 2. And there's what I forgot. I needed a 2nd spoon or spatula. So I'm just gonna grab my saute spoon. See, I knew there'd be one thing I forgot. There's always one. Then you just mix it up. Now, this is where you could freeze it just like this in a bag, and you're good to go. You just have to skewer it when they thaw. But I'm gonna show you how I will do it. And I'm not gonna make you sit and watch me do every skewer, but you just wanna make sure that the seasoning is done, mixed well. And if I was putting this straight in the bag, guys, I would have just done this in the bag and massaged it, much like the first one that I did with the pork tenderloin. But since I'm going to actually skewer them, and I just thought of one more thing that would be handy is probably a quarter sheet pan, because they would fit on your quarter sheet pan as well. So you could layer up your kebabs, and you could flash freeze them if you wanted as well. That might be another trick if you're liking that. Though I'm pretty proficient at fitting them into the Ziploc bag when they're a small kebab. So like I said, I have an 8-inch skewer, and you can see they fit nicely. So just check your dollar store, see if they have small ones. And that's what I use. So I'm gonna just layer up a few ingredients onto here. We'll make one the way the recipe reads, and then we'll make one the way I know my picky eater will like it, and one the way my other picky eater will like it. I have a couple picky eaters depending on what ingredients we're having. And of course, zucchini would be delicious on this. Mushrooms would be delicious on this. Again, it's your kitchen. If you're meal prepping, make it the way you like it, because that's what matters. At the end of the day, if you are eating it, it should be what you like. So we'll do one more pepper and one more piece of meat. You can see I've just kind of put it on there nicely. Hopefully you can see it over here. And then just pop it in the bag. And I lay those flat as well. And this bag isn't open, so I'll just have to open it. I lay these flat to freeze as well. And we'll do one without, with just protein, so just meat, so you can change it up. And that way, when it comes to time to have these for dinner, I don't even have to skewer them. I just will literally take these out because they won't be frozen stuck together. I'm gonna make sure they're spaced. I will literally just pop them on the grill frozen. Of course, if you want, you can give them a chance to defrost, and they will marinate a little bit more. But this is a dry rub, so it doesn't necessarily need a chance to marinate. Now I'll do one more that's just protein and onion. And just so you can see how my family likes it a little bit different depending on the kebab, depending on who wants that kebab. But you can see it's not a super difficult task to skewer up a few kebabs ready for the grill. And I will probably be able to fit in, I'm going to say probably per bag. And I'll probably end up, because I did quite a few pieces of meat in here, I'll probably be able to fit in easily 5 skewers into this bag. So I'll move this out of the way, and the sunlight went away. Hopefully the darkness didn't show up too badly for you guys. Then you just squeeze out the air. And same thing as the other one, you just want to kind of make sure that it's nice and flat. And I will be freezing that like it is. So I'll be able to grab the skewers out and throw them right on the grill. Or like I said, you can defrost it in your fridge the night before and throw it on the grill the next day, get a chance to marinate. So guys, that's it. That's the 3 that we were going to do today. And if you have any questions about freezer meals, I encourage you to reach out to the consultant who invited you, or ask them in the chat as we turn off the recording. I'll stick with you guys for a couple of minutes. But freezer meals are just a really great thing to have, you know, as in your back pocket for those meal times. It's summertime, let's face it. We got some long weekends coming up. We got some fun. The world is starting to normalize to whatever our new normal is. And we want to be outside. I'm tired of looking at my screen. I'm tired of being in my kitchen in my house. I want my meals ready for me so that I can just walk in, grill them up, and stay in the sunshine. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and that you, you know, are excited about filling your freezer with some really great meals. I'm going to turn it off record now, and you guys can feel free to ask any questions.